The Marla and Dave radio experience begins in 3, 2, 1.
Now, if you're ready, we will begin.
Welcome to the Marla and Dave radio show. This is reality radio with a couple that keeps it real. Current events, pop culture, music, relationships, fitness, the hot topics of the day. Marla and Dave Thomas. This is the Marla and Dave radio show. Real radio. Turn up!
Welcome to the Marla and Dave show. Dina, go ahead and pull your mic up to your face, baby, because you're going to have to talk in that at some point. All right. You are looking at me live and in person. You're looking at us. It is the Marla and Dave show, but often it's just Marla talks. Because where the hell is Dave? That's the question everybody wants to know. Where's Waldo? Where the hell is Dave? Well, at 6 o'clock p.m., he should be touching down at the LAX airport on his way home from Jordan, which is going to be very interesting today, the doghouse that I launched on Dave. But we'll save that for a later time. But in the meantime, I'm very happy to have my friend, an important guest, because the message that you carry and the journey that you've lived, Dina, is nothing less, honestly, than astounding. It needs to be heard. Nobody tells it better or has more information than you. You're not a stranger to the Madhouse, and as God would bless us, you're also no longer a stranger to our family. Mm-hmm. And so stay tuned today. Get comfortable. Do whatever you have to do. We've got Deanna Robinson here. And Deanna, right quick, I've been saying, only thing I know that you're the executive director, correct? Mm-hmm. But I know that there was a merger. It's not of, not is it? Yet. Okay, so it's the executive director of the San Fernando Valley chapter of NAMI.
Correct.
Okay, so that is exactly what it is. Deanna comes, like I said, with a wealth of information, things that everybody needs to know. So if you are a person that is suffering or affected by mental illness, if you're the loved one of someone who was affected, as David and I are with our son, with mental illness, with somebody who you love and you support and care for, today's show is dedicated to you. We've got a couple of objectives and we will meet them all. But in the meantime, let me talk about the week in review. Tony, I got a little bit of fuzziness. You're gonna fix that for me? I'm fuzzy, and by the way, everybody in all platforms, welcome to the Marla and Dave show. Welcome to UBN Radio, whether you're joining us on Periscope, which is ubnradiotv.com, Dina, or whether you're in the chat room here at UBN Radio Network, or if you're on Facebook, all of the platforms. And then if we stream and we're on iHeartRadio, iTunes, where else, Tony? Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify. My mom and them's house. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Y'all are up in my bed. No, that's not that. Upinmybed.com. One of the things we like to do is play the mood song. So I think there's just Dave has a mood song. What? This is what happens when you let your husband produce the show. He tries to just stay a part of everything, even though, Dave, there's no 50-50 here, bro. Anyway, hit my song, Tony.
Premeditated murder. I called up my loved ones. I called up my cousins. I called up the Muslims. Said I'm about to go dumb. Get so bright it's no sun. Get so loud I hear none. Scream so loud got no lungs.
Okay, that probably didn't make sense to anybody, not even me. So let me explain. Due to our topic today, that was Premeditated Murder was the title of that by Kanye West. Stop snickering, Tony. It's Tony. Do you want to get your snicker out? Okay. Kanye West was on Jimmy Kimmel, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Tony, let's hear Dave's mood song.
She's always in my boat. She's always there, telling me how much she cares. She's always in my
She's always in my hair. Now, what, Dina? Can I just ask you to pull your mic up really close so you can actually? Yeah, you could. Yeah, there you go. Just put that right in your face. Slide over.
There we go.
What would you, since Dave is not here, what would you imagine that Dave meant by "she's always in my hair"? What? That was his mood song.
He is just thinking about your lovely self 24/7, 365. You are just always in his head. How about that?
Always in his hair. That sounds more like a troublesome scenario, like, lice versus love. But I'll let that slide because I love you so much. We'll move on. The weekend review. Wow, we're gonna get more into this in the news, but can we talk about Omarosa? Tony's now gone from snickering to outwardly exclaiming. He's in outburst mode. So here's what I want to say. The concept, people, of draining the swamp. When everyone in the swamp is a sliverous reptile, it's the only way that you can exist. You have to be that amphibious reptile to exist in the swamp. So everyone in there is going to be Trump-like. I'm not understanding why people are so. She shouldn't have recorded. Shut the hell up. Everybody in there is doing everything they shouldn't be doing. Period. It's a whole administration of dirty swamp, belly sliding, slithering, lizardly people. I'm sorry. They have no moral compass. They have no decency. And Omarosa, don't run back to the black community now just because you think you're going to bring us a tape, because we don't want you. Now, I'm just going to say that right now because your character has been proven. Because when it was beneficial for you, then, Trump was always a snake. He was a snake as a personal businessman in the world, but you were down. So as long as life will serve you, then you're down. Now all of a sudden you get dissed, and the scorpion, it's like you get on the back and it says, "Oh, why'd you bite me halfway across the scorpion and the frog, halfway across the lake?" Well, because what do you expect? I'm a scorpion. Well, duh. Now that you've been bitten, you want to say, "Ow, that hurt. I'm poisoned." No, chick. Anyway, I try to keep it not political, but I cannot help myself because it just doesn't make any sense. Right, Tony? It just doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, Dina. You have to stay neutral.
I do.
But I'm not going to be neutral right about now. It's not about to happen for me. What else? Let's talk about something of the week that was happy. Oh, my weekend review. I took my son on an outing. DJ said, "Mom, we need to just go hang out." So I went down to Venice. We parked our car at my daughter's house, who lives there. This is kind of weird because I'm looking at Dina, but I can't see her at all because my monitor. It's okay. She's fine. But you see that Anyway, what ended up happening was I took DJ down to Venice. Oh, that's perfect. Now, yep. Oh, now, oh, no. Yep. We're dealing with some technical difficulties that are fantastic because it just means we're real, right? This is live. And I kept saying, I really want to have a bird experience. I want to ride this bird. You know what a bird is? They're the electric scooters. So you download an app, you walk up to a scooter, and if the scooter has time on it, you just you scan it, and then it lights up, and you can ride it wherever you want. And when you're done riding, you just leave it on the street. Why are you looking like that? You live here.
Do I look like a scooter person?
You need to be. I need you to get scooting. Right. Well, it's electric. So it's like, they call them birds, and birds, they die at night because they don't have lights. So you can get off of that and get on a lime. The limes light up. So DJ didn't want to scan in the app. So I put him on the back of my bird. And so 200-pound DJ, 6'2", and me on one little electric scooter with it's like a razor that goes electric. And quickly I realized, now I admit this out loud, that I'm a horribly irresponsible mother. DJ was like, "Mom, make up your mind. Are we going to ride on the sidewalk or the street? If we hit the wrong thing." So he's holding my arms and I'm riding the bird. And we just couldn't stop laughing. Finally, his foot cramped before we got to the light. And we abandoned the bird and walked the rest of the way. We had sushi, we consoled ourselves, and we were happy. So that was part of my weekend review, and that's a good way to end my tirade on political madness. But anyway, we have a lot of information for you today on the show. We've got Deanna Robinson here with us in the MaD house. We won't. Which clock? Because all the clocks are crazy. Is this me? So where am I? At 6:15?
6:10, 12.
No, but what's my?
Oh, 6:10 is when you break a break. Yeah.
Goodbye.
You're listening to the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network. Current events, pop culture, the hot topics of the day. It's time for MaD News on the Marla and Dave radio show. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
You know, it used to be that you would have a topic as loaded as the one we're going to deal with today, and you'd have to really dig hard to find a story or to even deal with anything on the level of your topic. But now, mental illness, it's if there's 10 stories, 6 of them relate to mental illness. So did anybody else in the room get a chance to tune in to Kanye on Kimmel? All right. So Kanye West went on Jimmy Kimmel, and he talked about being bipolar at the end of his
Having bipolar disorder.
yes. And so it's not being, because that's not who you are.
I'm not cancer. Yeah.
Got it. Having bipolar disorder. Thank you for the correction.
Absolutely.
And if I close my eyes and listen to the things, because he's very smart. So the things that he's saying have a lot of validity, but they just are outside of the realm of what works in our consensus reality, which is what, and it's heartbreaking to me, but it's also interesting that if you have enough notoriety, money, and presence, that it seems to be observed and dealt with completely differently than somebody who does not. And it's almost celebrated. He's a genius. All these other things. I think it's a very, I like to look at these things as historic accounts of what it is like for someone to present bipolar. So it's something I would encourage everybody to just check out. I think Jimmy Kimmel handled it, phenomenally to be able to get the best of that interview, but that's something that happened. And then secondly, which I didn't really get a chance to look at this, but they were talking to me in depth in my class today. The guy who steals the plane.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He steals. So there's a young man who steals an airplane, and he had been playing video games, which is how he taught himself to fly. And he steals the plane. He's the guy who works already on the tarmac. So he's the dude who tows the planes to and from. And he decided, okay, his name is Richard Russell. And he says, I'm going to fly this plane. And he gets in a commercial 70-seat jet, takes off. He does loop-de-loos. He flies circles. He does aerodynamic tricks. And the people who I've spoken to are professionals, or even have listened to the recording, because it was a long, like 45 minutes from the cockpit. And they're like, normally you can kind of hear the disconnect in somebody who's mentally imbalanced. You don't hear it with this dude. He just was completely clear. They were like, hey, let us help you land the plane, and you're going to land it at this Air Force base. He says, no way. He said, first of all, they're going to rough me up before they put me in jail for life. Not doing that. And found an island where no one existed and crashed it and killed himself. Apologized to his family. And I think, are we all just unraveling? That's kind of my real question. Are we getting to the point where life is becoming so overwhelmingly desperate that we're just like, who wants to be here? It's weird. Anyway, that's the MaD news, all in conjunction with our topic today and our guests. We've got Deanna Robinson in the house. We'll be right back.
Can you handle the truth? This is modern American dialogue in a mad world from two unique, fresh, transparent perspectives. This is the Marla and Dave Radio Show.
And again, I want to officially welcome back Deanna to the Marla and Dave Show.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me back.
For sure. So again, welcome to everybody who's joining us in the various chat rooms. There's a presence here on Facebook Live that I'm watching, as well as you can tune in on my personal page. You can also tune in on the Marla and Dave Show page on Facebook, which is a live stream. Cordelia, she says it's Delta. FD Fowles, hey, miss you too. Monica, everybody who's here, welcome. And let's get into the show. So, Deanna.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we go any further, catch me up on what has happened with you in the organization of NAMI since the last time you were on in the MaD House.
The last time I was here, I was volunteer recruitment, training, and management chair for NAMI San Fernando Valley. And the NAMI system has, a national office in Arlington, Virginia, and then there are 50 state or a NAMI state organization in every single state. And within those states, there are local affiliates who deliver services to the community that they're located in. We're located in NAMI San Fernando Valley, and we serve San Fernando Valley and Santa Clarita Valleys. And I am the executive director. I was voted in, hired June 14th. So I'm brand spanking new executive director, and that makes me responsible for a whole bunch. And I am just so privileged and honored to be able to serve in this capacity so that we can increase what we do, increase the impact of what we do in the San Fernando Valley and Santa Clarita Valley areas.
So give everybody the simple, what the acronym NAMI.
The acronym NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Okay. Mm-hmm. For those of you who follow and for those who don't, allow me to bring you up to speed. David and I, due to the mental health challenges that we were supporting with our son in particular, found our way to NAMI. And getting to NAMI is, like I said to Deanna, NAMI to me is the first and the last breath when it comes to mental illness. By the time you are at your final wit's end, when you just think you just can't breathe anymore, which would be the last breath, NAMI has the resources and the information and the support to really revive, to breathe new life, new hope into you. And we ended up signing up and taking a course called Family to Family, which taught us to help us better understand fully what our son was dealing with his diagnosis, tools to be able to use to be able to communicate with him, and that would help it be better for us to communicate with him in his current state of mind, or with whatever it is that he's dealing with in his process at all times. And in that family to family meeting, it was so impactful that eye-opening in the way that it brought new information. But the question that I have for you, Deanna, is there's been so much of a resource for us with NAMI. And I know NAMI is a national organization. Is it so? Because people contact me from all over the country.
Sure.
Is it the same elsewhere as it is here? Is the presence the same as far as programs?
Sure. I wouldn't. All NAMIs across the country are not all the same.
Right.
Most NAMIs offer family to family. Most NAMIs offer family support groups, and hopefully we are growing to a place where most of them also offer peer programs. And peer, when I use the word peer, I'm speaking about people who live with a mental illness.
Right.
So most NAMIs, I do believe, because, Family to Family is kind of our, signature program, our number one go-to. It is an evidence-based practice, meaning that loved ones of people who have a mental health condition who take the Family to Family course, their outcomes are much better after they take that course. And they are listed with SAMHSA, with the federal government, again, as an evidence-based practice. They've gone through. And
you should always let them know, do you know the acronyms to, so SAMHSA
I'm so sorry. Substance and Mental Health.
Let me look it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got you. I
appreciate that. So used to using the acronym that I forget the order of what it stands for. Thank you for that. Can you just tell me, because my head's kind of turned that way?
Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Thank you.
Right.
So it is a very, very impactful and powerful program, as I'm sure, Marla, you can attest to. You probably understand so much more now than you did prior to taking that course, and hopefully have formed some relationships in the class that are sort of ongoing and provide support. I know that happens a lot. I know when I took the sister to that, which is peer-to-peer, which is a 12-week course for folks who live with a mental illness, I still to this day have friends across the country, and certainly back home, that I stay in touch with to this day, because it was just such a powerful bonding experience over something that's so traumatic.
I just had lunch with Sharon.
Is that right?
From Family to Family this past week.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing that you mentioned that in the beginning, I learned this information from my class, that NAMI used to be mommy, or it was moms.
Yeah. NAMI mommies.
NAMI mommies. And because it was women who had gotten together to consult and to deal with the challenges that they were facing with their children and loved ones who were suffering. And it was like a support group for each other, and then it ultimately became NAMI. That's right. And I found that to be, very interesting on a lot of levels. And I want to remind everybody that anybody today, this is a live open show that we do here. So 323-524-2599. Any comment, any question is welcome at any point during our show. So feel free to call in and join us. So, yes. So, Deanna, getting back to that. So you mentioned peer-to-peer being one of the most impactful programs.
Yes.
But also there's peer-to-peer. And is that correct?
It's the same one.
Okay.
Peer-to-peer.
So peer-to-peer is different though from family. Family to family. I'm sorry.
Right,
so I said
right.
about peer-to-peer and then family to family.
Right.
And so is there any other program that you have at NAMI that has such a big impact? Because I'm sure I know what it is for family to family.
Right. So I could be a little biased. I admit that. I could be a little biased. But I think all of our programs are very, very impactful. Family to Family is a 12-week course for family members, partners, and friends of folks who live with a mental illness. And as Marla described, the course teaches family members and loved ones how to communicate more effectively and understand what their loved one is going through. We also have Familia a Familia. So some of the programs.
What was that?
Familia a Familia. It is the Spanish version of Family to Family. Persona a Persona is the Spanish version of peer-to-peer. We are currently having to recruit Spanish-speaking peers. So I think we have 2 on board now. So soon. We haven't offered it just yet, but soon we hope to offer Persona a Persona, which is the Spanish version of peer-to-peer, which is a 8-week course that teaches peers how to live and manage effectively with their mental illness. We have In Our Own Voice, which is a seriously impactful anti-stigma program where two people living with a mental illness go out into the community and talk just straight and candidly about what they've been through and how they've
wow.
recovered.
And that, I think I don't know if, okay. So when you have, you called it what? Voice?
In our
own voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's super
Yes.
impactful.
Absolutely.
Because there's so much that is unknown about, we call it brain difference.
Mm-hmm.
And what we don't know typically, and rightfully so in a lot of cases, scares us.
Yes.
It's the same, we can go back to when, HIV was first introduced. People were scared out of their mind. It was like pandemonium because can you spit on me? Can you bump into me?
Right,
Can you,
right.
how susceptible am I to harm? Which we'll get into in our next segment, because I think that mental health is clearly an illness. And I think that it is the stigma. It is the most overlooked.
Oh yeah. And
ignored. Go ahead.
And the thing about it, Marla, is because mental illness is so completely stigmatized, the outcomes, it makes it really hard for people to actually seek treatment. It makes it hard for folks like me to accept that, this is a
condition.
Legitimate condition, a legitimate medical condition that we need to seek help for. And the outcomes when we don't get help are poor. We wind up in the criminal justice system. We don't complete school. There are lots of relationship problems. Just so many problems that take its toll on families and, quite frankly, on society. I think the first 3 or 4 illnesses listed federally of the greatest causes of disability are mental illnesses. So when we don't seek help for what is a medical condition, again, the outcomes are just really, really tough for those of us who suffer and for family members in the community at large. So what we try to do at NAMI is really talk about, just how the brain is the same as any other part of your body. The kidneys can fail. They do all the time. Gallbladder, lungs, pancreas, just like
any organ.
Right. Any organ of the body. And I think what we do is, we place such a high value on intelligence and normalcy, so to speak.
Now, let me pause right there.
Sure.
Interestingly enough, and I think I mentioned it with the Kanye West issue, but the one lesson that I've learned is that it is the opposite. When someone suffers from a brain difference, people want to think that they're unintelligent. It's a mistake.
Absolutely.
They are extremely intelligent. Matter of fact, they probably access, in my opinion, more of their brain than society knows how to actually handle and or manage. That's what I believe.
That's kind of insightful, Marla.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
That's pretty insightful.
Because you can only generally deal with everything from your own perspective. It also takes a very emotionally evolved person to say, I don't think or move like this, but I understand that you can and that you do, and have compassion and be accepting of somebody outside of what, it's like for most people, the buck stops here.
Right.
I jump up and I get this high. So the fact that you can jump up and get this high, it's like, so what's wrong with you? Well, there has to be a Jordan. Everybody can't, jump that high.
Right. I tell you, that is really interesting because, stats do show that people, a large portion of folks who have a mental health condition have higher intelligence than the regular population. So it is absolutely true what you're saying, that people think that folks with mental illness can't do this or can't do that, when quite frankly some of the greatest minds, most creative, most intelligent, the ones who have really made a huge impact on just how we have evolved as human beings have had difficulty with mental illness. Abraham Lincoln, for instance,
right,
had major depression. Albert Einstein, he had a mental illness. There are so many folks, and if you just Google celebrities with mental illness or famous people with mental illness, you'll be surprised at who those folks are. Current day, we have celebrities coming forth all the time talking about their particular challenges with mental illness. We unfortunately lost a couple of greats with Kate and with
Anthony Bourdain. The list goes on.
Yes,
Anthony
yes.
Bourdain. Robin Williams was brilliant.
I was just getting ready to say, and I think his birthday just passed or something like that. Just really heart-wrenching. How I know for me, and you were talking a little earlier about being able to manage my illness. Something that happens for me all the time is that my mind goes a million miles a minute. Now, I know that, a lot of folks say, well, I think a lot too, and I have a lot of racing thoughts and, that kind of thing. My mind goes all the time and almost never stops. To be able to manage and pull apart competing priorities and carry on a role like an executive director of an organization is really kind of challenging. But even before we started tonight with this show, I actually had, Tony might have seen me, I actually had to stop, sit,
I saw you meditate.
Put myself in a meditative state because my mind is always going. And Eckhart Tolle is really kind of helping me a lot. I don't know if you know.
We do.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
I've read the book.
But The Power of Now.
Power of Now.
Yeah. And just trying my best to stay present to what's going on, because one of the dangers is spending too much time in the past and too much time in the future, which is where a lot of the anxiety and stuff comes from. And when I have all of these competing thoughts and so many responsibilities and just so much going on with family, friends, and whatnot, it can be a little troublesome. But being able to just sit, hold my hands out to accept what the universe has to offer me is pretty kind of
Well, here's a question
awesome.
that I have for you,
Yes, ma'am.
Dina. When we come back from the break, I would like for you to answer for me, what should our expectations be as supporting cast to our family that suffers from or is afflicted by a mental illness?
Sure.
We'll be right back.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something. 26 years of marriage from two unique perspectives equals 52 years of relationship experience.
Excuse me, that's 58 years? Oops, I made a boo-boo.
It's time for Ask Marla and Dave. Answers to your questions about life, love, and relationship based on Marla and Dave's real-life experience. It's about to get real. Ask Marla and Dave.
This is the Ask Marla and Dave segment of the show. Ask Marla and Dave is a place where you can go to our website. You write a question. Hold 1 second. And then I'm back. You write your question down, and we just go through the questions. We pick one question that we choose to bring to air, and we answer it live on air with as much truth as we have, which is everything that we are, because we're very truthful and very transparent. I'm going to give this to Dina.
I appreciate it.
And it's got several different, it's a very special pen, so you can twist it and you can go black, you can go red, or you can go pencil.
Wow.
And my name's on it, so don't try to take it because it won't like it.
Okay.
She said, okay. So anyway, so the Ask Marla and Dave, we answer that question. So today the question is this. Hey, Marla and Dave, I'm living inside the biggest dilemma of my life. I'm 42 years old and have been married for 12 years. My husband and myself are both professionals and have lived what I'm sure would be considered by all standards an affluent life. We've always been on the same page regarding our goals, which includes making a conscious decision to never have kids. Well, guess what? Yep, I'm pregnant. I didn't plan this, but I'm totally embracing the idea of becoming a mom. When I shared the news with my husband, he was mortified and went a step further by giving me an ultimatum. Terminate the pregnancy or he can't continue to commit to the marriage. He means the world to me, but I feel this life inside of me was meant to be. I don't even know what I'm asking. Maybe just to hear you say it'll be okay. Signed, Comfort Me. I just added that because I always do. Wow. Sometimes I think that the hardest decisions that we have to make is really not a decision. It's accepting that our journey is really truly our journey. And throughout life, people join us and we get lulled into thinking that at the time that everything is the way it's supposed to be, that people are walking beside us because at that moment in time, our lives are in alignment. Sometimes we are called to a different or another purpose, or as I would say, we're called to change lanes. Doesn't mean we stop traveling, but we shift out of the lane that we're in and we continue to go forward in a different lane. I think that you've already answered your own question. Looking for comfort. I think that you're clear. He's got to get clear. So it doesn't mean you terminating the relationship or kicking this human being out of the life of of your baby. It just means that you can't create clarity for him. You can only be clear for you. And it sounds like you're in a position where you don't even need the finances, or you're making decisions based on your calling in this life. And you want to express to him how much you love him and continue to pray that he make one that may be in alignment. And, I can't tell you that things will change, but I can tell you that you'll never forgive yourself if you don't move according to your own convictions. That's what I can say. And with that, Tony broke up with me. Back to the show.
Intelligent, fun, and super real. This is the Marla and Dave Radio Show.
All right, so we're back. So before we went to the break, I asked Deanna, so I got to give a little precursor to the question, and I'll ask it again. Mm-hmm. A lot of you know that I've been relatively quiet in reference to the journey that we're still on the path with DJ and his condition and what he's going through. And it's not because it's all better and whoop-de-woo, we're all good. It's just that the focus and not having right now a place or an end or an answer. That's the best thing. I'm still stuck in a valley with no answer. And in this valley, I know for the longest Deanna was saying, I really want to meet DJ. So I called her up and said, can you please come out to our house? I would love for you to introduce him because we talk about peer to peer. Deanna, you can share with our audience, if you will, because a lot of people are just joining us, your actual diagnosis.
My diagnosis is bipolar 1 disorder with psychotic features, post-traumatic stress disorder, and dissociative disorder. Bipolar disorder, for those of you who may need a little clarity, is two sides of one pole. One side is I'm up, happy, probably a little more than happy. I get delusional. I have hallucinations. I behave in odd ways and have even been confronted by police and having to be taken to the hospital in handcuffs. On the other side, it is really difficult to get out of bed in the morning, just to have any kind of energy or motivation to do anything, to get a shower, to brush my teeth. Absolute success. And the depression is less obvious and life interrupting, so it often goes unignored, and people suffer for years and years and years. Just plug in NAMI. Anytime I am able to get around my peers and talk about what's going on with me, talk about what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, my lack of energy, it always just does a boost for me. And we do have support group programs for folks with a mental illness who can get together and talk about those things. Post-traumatic stress disorder, I got that diagnosis because I am a survivor of childhood abuse. And dissociative disorder, I because of that abuse, learned to go some other place while the abuse was happening, so that I would stay alive, I would survive, I would be able to handle. And what happened was, because that was something that was developed in those years where it was just imprinted, I've continued to do that and continue to learn how to do that. When things become uncomfortable, I go someplace else. And so that's not so helpful nowadays, though, that I'm grown and I really want to be present and stay in my present and experience what I have to experience, which is why I'm really, really glad that I get to be a part of NAMI. I get to be a part of this community that knows exactly what I'm going through, and am able to cope and get the help that I need.
Right. So with that being said, I'm always, to be totally truthful, I'm always one step on the doorstep of despair with where our son is and his progress or lack thereof. And, there's been broken promises and, the Dr. Phil thing and all of that. Mm-hmm. So I asked you to come out, and to be totally honest with you, and I'm dedicating this segment to speak to the question I ask you is, what expectations should supporting loved ones have of those that suffer? Mm-hmm. When you came out to meet and speak with DJ, it was so powerful to me on more ways than I'll ever be able to express. But what I took from that in your frank, direct conversation was he still has to help himself. Mm-hmm. And I was like, because it dawns on me that we're doing more for him than he's willing to do for him. Mm-hmm. But knowing that he's mentally not able on some level, not that he's mentally, he's not intellectually able, but just with his skills and where it landed him before, I think that it is true that we're dealing more at this point with our fears than his fears. But I want you to talk about that because there's families listening right now. Mm-hmm. And we've got this diagnosis. We've got this bizarre behavior. We have these dire consequences, jail. In our case, things that I didn't even know that mania ever even existed. I didn't know it looked like this. I didn't know that, this is what we were going to be facing. Mm-hmm. To watch my son be incarcerated because he has a brain difference. Mm-hmm. Instead of being helped, the system was completely failed. All of our efforts it's a joke. As far as, those of us who are plugged in enough to ask for, seek, and know that there's help that needs to be rendered, mm-hmm. and get nothing but incarceration, and he was treated like a criminal. We are plugged into this consensus reality. So even though in his world there are no restraints that will really hold him back, the stop that happens here is real, and the pain of that is real for us. So how do you navigate those two things?
Okay, so I want to make sure that I understand your question, because you said quite a few things there. First, meeting DJ was wonderful. He is such a talented young man, and he is extremely intelligent. And I say it like that and looking at you like that because one of the things that you said was, I think it's more about our fears now than it is about DJ's. And I want to say this too. Family members, loved ones, I know that you all are doing the very best that you can as you watch your loved one go through some very uncommon experiences, and you just don't know what to make of it, don't know, what to do. You're confused by it. And I know that that what you want to do is fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you think by watching your loved one and watching them behave in some ways, and you know them a little bit, that you can interject because you believe that you have some answers to what will fix something. And then when your loved one doesn't respond the way that you want them to respond, I know that can be frustrating. I know that it could probably even provoke anger. I'm sure that you can become impatient and sort of like throw up your hands and just don't know what to do. But you love your loved one, and you just want them to get better. So here's the deal, like for real. I didn't actually start getting better until I made the choice to do so. Until I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that looked like I got tired of major life interruptions, changing jobs, not being able to hold on to relationships, having ups and downs with, my kids. And I just got really tired of the major life interruptions, particularly when I had to go into the hospital and things just got really out of hand. So I made a decision that I wanted to live a better life. I just was tired of being so tired.
Right.
So I took myself to the hospital, and I learned myself about what was going on with me. And for the first time, I heard things like serotonin and dopamine and how neurons talk to each other, and, how I can have too much of one neurotransmitter and not enough of another, which could cause me to be depressed or cause me to be manic. So the more I became educated on my medical condition, and I saw that there were other people who talked about experiencing the same things that I had. That to me was a serious eye opener. And I no longer thought that, I just had like bad character, as, I got a lot of messages that was the case when as I was growing up and as a young adult. Life just shifted and changed because I wanted it to.
How different, Deanna, do you find the experience to being a minority? With suffering with or being challenged with any type of brain difference or mental illness?
The major thing with Black folk is religion and church and God. Pray on it and you'll be all right. So what kept me from getting help for such a long time is I'm a PK. I'm a preacher's kid. And I grew up in Baptist church. And it was if you did anything, said anything, behaved, thought anything that was off or odd, you were a demon. You had a negative spirit, and you needed to be prayed over, or, you need to give your life to Christ, and just all manner of things. I wouldn't say that to someone whose pancreas failed them,
right,
or whose heart failed them,
right.
My brain
failed you,
yeah. So one of the things that was really liberating for me is to understand that it was, in fact, a mental illness. And I didn't have to live in, just not being knowledgeable about that and being superstitious. Because, I sort of reluctant to say it, but I must say it.
Right.
Because it is a great hindrance to folks actually getting treatment. And I swear, as beautiful as my faith is, religion and Christianity and faith and listen, I am so not knocking anybody's spiritual practice. Right. That is so not what this is about.
For sure.
What this is about is If I have a cough, I'm gonna take some medicine. If I break my ankle, I'm
Right.
gonna go and see a doctor. If I have cancer, diabetes, or any of a myriad of
gonna
things
get
that could
medical
go wrong with the
treatment.
body, I'm gonna go to the doctor. And so for us to think that our brain can't, and it is the central, it's the hub of the body. Everything shoots off from the brain. What I'm saying right now, me moving my arm, me understanding depth perception, and just so many things are going on
Right.
at the same time in the brain. For us to think that it can't misfire and something can't go wrong is just erroneous. So if I could say anything to my folk, folk who look like me, who I absolutely love, and I know that we struggle a great deal because we're supposed
times
to be
more.
strong. Oh yeah, we're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. We're supposed to, take a licking and keep on kicking. Look at what our ancestors have been through. We can do this. Okay, y'all. Yeah, that's real good. That's real good. All right, but seriously, we don't have to wear the cape all the time. We are human beings just like everybody else, and we deserve the opportunity and the chance to take care of our beautiful, wonderful selves. And that includes
Your
going
brain.
to a doctor who can help us with that particular situation. So please, if there's anything that I can implore, if you believe that there's nothing that God is not, and you believe that there is a way out of everything, there's medicine. And if there's nothing that God is not, and he doesn't, he has participation in all things, then, medicine has been made, and doctors are intelligent enough and have been able to investigate enough and have come up with so much data after seeing person after person after person after person after person in front of them, so much so that they have developed what is called the Diagnostical Statistical Manual, which
Right.
is called the DSM-5.
Right.
And they have all of this criteria because they've seen people over and over and over again that present with these same kinds of difficulties, and they have and it's not an exact science, but I mean, do we know everything about all things? Absolutely not. But we can take advantage of that which we know and go to see a doctor so that we can get some help for a treatable illness. Now, when I got medicated, I started to, be stable in a job that I absolutely love. My relationships improved. My faith got stronger. Just go see
It was
help.
all good.
Yeah, I mean, it was better. I mean, it's not, everything's all gravy. You still have to learn how to deal with something that is what it is, but much, much, much better.
Is that our outro? Is there music playing? It's so faint I can barely tell. Am I? Oh. Well, before we go to this next break, I just want to say when we come back, I'm going to have Deanna answer in a 1, 2, 3 point question the 3 steps that you would advise in somebody dealing with their loved one who desperately needs to get help.
I absolutely will. And in conjunction with that, I hope you will allow me to continue to finish the impactful programs that NAMI does
Yes,
have to offer.
of course.
I do want to
Of course. We'll be
explain that.
We'll be right
Awesome.
back.
It's time for the Marla and Dave Doghouse. Marla has something that should put Dave in the doghouse. Dave has something that should put Marla in the doghouse. You decide who gets a biscuit and who gets busted and ends up in the doghouse.
All right, so I did something new too, Tony. I went ahead and I never do this, but I logged on to Instagram Live, and it's also running at the same time, which is just so unlike me. But what's up, IG? You're actually in the madhouse. This is the segment of the show where David and I, who normally is here because it is the Marla and Dave show until I remove his name from the marquee. I'm working on it. Because he's clearly in a Uber or Lyft somewhere, coming home from God knows where. I don't know, Istanbul. He was somewhere. Anyway, so the doghouse is the segment where each one of us launches a marital offense against the other one, and then our MaD family gets to choose who gets the biscuit and who gets the bone. Now, Dave has been eating bones for quite some time, because he's not here. So I can say anything that I want to say. And who can dispute me? No one. So today is one of those things. Dave, you know why you're going in the doghouse? You're going in the doghouse because my family is so used to me, in my opinion, helping them to do everything or problem solving. David left to go to Georgia, not Georgia the peach, but Georgia the country in Europe. And he texted me from Istanbul, which was a layover, and he was supposed to be staying at a hotel and inside the airport. And he had some issues with the timing of checking in and then coming through and getting his bags. And he was then escorted outside the airport some kind of way. He found himself on a van being escorted into the heart of Istanbul with nobody to interpret. He and one other member of the group. And he was texting me. And my first brain was like, look, bro, I'm about to teach a fitness class. What am I supposed to do for you here in Woodland Hills? And you are stuck in Istanbul. So I said, I text back, being the excellent and apt wife that I am, and said, got right to the pertinent question, which was this. So what is your greatest concern? Was my text message. You're concerned about your belongings? Are you concerned about your safety? Are you concerned about your accommodations? And is this really just all I can do for you is document what's happening in case there's an issue so we can have record for later? So why are you texting me from the middle of the world and I'm here in Woodland Hills, Dave, looking for what? So that's why you're in the doghouse. I'm going to need you to use your iPhone that we pay so much money for and get your translator and never be lost in the world again. Okay? Boom. In the doghouse. Eat your bone. Goodbye.
What's the action?
You'll laugh. You'll learn. You'll learn. You'll get mad.
Shut up!
You'll get happy. But you won't be bored. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the
Now
Universal
let me get this
Broadcast
straight.
Network.
It is true. Dave did not ask me to do anything, but I was just wondering why he was giving me this information. Was this a cry for help? He didn't say do something. But what I'm saying is it felt like, what the hell, do something. That's what I felt. Anyway. We're back we're back in the madhouse with Deanna. So Deanna, those quick 3 questions, and then I please would like for you to expound on the programs that NAMI has.
Sure. Your three points.
Three things that you could, 3 bits of advice you can give to families who are dealing with loved ones who have not accepted a program, or they're trying to help, but their loved ones are in the throes of their diagnosis and they're trying to be as supportive as they can. Sure. What 3 pieces of advice from your experience, being one who's also diagnosed but it manages your issues, what can you say to those families, those loved ones?
Well, I would first say, and I know I work with NAMI, I work for NAMI, but honest to goodness, before I did, I was a person who got benefited from NAMI services. So I would say first, educate yourself. Take a family-to-family course. It is a nationally renowned program, and your life will be different. People often say, where was this program 20 years ago? It could have saved my family. It could have healed my marriage. I would have had a better relationship with my kid. Educate yourself. Your child is not acting out or seeking attention or, some other reason you may be thinking in your mind. It is a legitimate mental or medical condition that is treatable. Go get help, educate yourself, find out about it. You'll also learn how to communicate with your loved one. The second thing I would say is to take care of yourself. I know that it is taxing to have a loved one who has a mental health condition. Take time for you. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be listened to. You deserve to have some fun. You deserve to take a break. You deserve, ladies, to, get your nails done. You deserve, gentlemen, to go, smoke a cigar somewhere. I don't know. Just do something that you love to do. take care of yourself, remove yourself from the situation for a little bit. And the third thing that I would say is trust the process. I hear so many times, so many success stories, and, it really starts with the person who has the illness recognizing that it is such and going to get some help for themselves. You cannot fix, you cannot change, you cannot abolish or take it away. The best thing that you can do is tell your loved one that you love them. Be kind, be compassionate, be gentle with them and with yourself. So that's kind of what I got for you.
All right, perfect. So now let's get into, one of the things, again, reminding everybody that what NAMI stands for, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, on mental illness. So we've mentioned, we keep bringing up the programs that have most impacted us and that may be most beneficial to you, but that doesn't end there. So I'm going to turn this over to Deanna to be able to share with us some other programs that NAMI has. We've mentioned peer-to-peer and we've mentioned family-to-family.
We also have Basics, which is a 6-session education program that is specifically for parents and other family caregivers of children and adolescents. The course is offered in both English and Spanish, and really looking for family members whose children had an onset of mental illness prior to the age of 13. So they can be 25 now. They can be a young person now, but their onset was before the age of 13. So that's our Basics program. I told you about In Our Own Voice. It's just a powerful, powerful anti-stigma tool. If you're listening, you want somebody to come to your church. You want a couple folks to come to your church. You want them to come to your school. You want them to come wherever you want them to come. Wherever you want us to be, we will be there. There is a NAMI near you, and you can go to www.nami.org to find I know this is a national program, so go to NAMI.org and search for a NAMI near you. We also have a program called Parents and Teachers as Allies. By the way, our local number for our helpline, in case you want to take a family-to-family or peer-to-peer class, is 818-994-6747. I think Tony has that number and he can pop it up for you. But that is the hope starts at the helpline. So pick up the phone and call and get some help. You absolutely won't regret it. We also go into schools with a program called Ending the Silence. Tipper Gore just gave $1 million a year or so ago to the program to spread that program throughout middle and high schools all across the country. It is a powerful program. I think you know that, or may not, that the second leading cause of young people ages 10 to 24 is suicide. And it is just increasing. It seems to just be remarkable. We were just talking about that. So to have, give kids the space and opportunity to hear a young person talk about their experience with mental illness and a family member talk about theirs just makes the space safe for kids to talk about their challenges, what to recognize in their friends as well, so that tragedy can be prevented and young people can get help sooner rather than later. We have a program called Friends in the Lobby, where we go into hospitals, particularly out here, and we go to Olive View Urgent Care and Olive View Hospital, both of which serve people who have a mental health condition, and we talk to family members that come in. Lots of times it's the first time that a family member has experienced something, and we're in there telling people who we are, what we do, and how we can help. We also do law enforcement training, which is really, really big for me. People with mental illness get shot by police. And now it is required that police officers get some training.
Training, right.
And NAMI is a big player in training police officers on how to work with someone who presents with a mental health condition, and you know, in their active, like, psychotic phase, when they're doing really odd and irregular kinds of things. So again, the number to call for a class, a support group, something like that. We also have family support groups, and we have support groups for people living with mental illness. It's called Connection. Here in the Valley, we meet over at Kaiser Medical Offices on Irwin on Saturday mornings at 10:30. Call the helpline. Go online to www.NAMI, S as in Sam, Frank as in F as in Frank, V as in Victor.org. And it lists out the family support groups.
And that's for anybody in the local.
That's for
Southern
anybody in the local
Southern California area, right?
In San Fernando, Santa Clarita Valley. Now, there are NAMIs. We have, I think, 12, 13 other NAMIs in the, or altogether in the Los Angeles County area. So you can also visit NAMILACCC.org, and there you would probably be able to find, you know, some information on all of the NAMIs within the Los Angeles County area.
And you guys see that there's a helpline that is listed up on the screen. And for those of you who are tuned in and just listening in on an Instagram, you can always come log onto the show, ubnradio.com. And you see all of us happening live here. And
Marla, can I just say one more thing?
Of course.
We are a nonprofit organization.
Correct.
We are able to help people in the way that we are able to help people by folks' generous donations to us. We are in the middle of the largest mental health fundraising, anti-stigma, and public awareness campaign, which is called NAMI Walks. I know that I wouldn't be here had it not been for NAMI. I know that I am not speaking just for myself. And when NAMI's mission is to build better quality lives for anyone affected by mental illness, I know that your life has gotten better. There are so many stories that we can tell of folks whose lives have gotten better. I'm able to be here for my grandkids and my kids because
NAMI.
So if you want to support the work that we do, we really need your help.
No. Please.
Yeah.
Not if you want to. I'm saying please. And the one thing that I say all the time is, and it stands to reason, everything that has value and that matters doesn't come to your attention or come across your desk. There's a reason, in my opinion, that we have been asked to carry certain things. So I'm asking. And when I ask from the bottom of my heart, and it's something that I'm saying, please, not if you feel, and of course, you know, no one can make anyone do anything, but what I'm saying is a whole lot of us doing a little goes a lot further than a few of us being required to do a whole lot. You have no idea when Dee was in jail and he was doing the ministry in jail. And he had determined that, you know, giving each man $30 a week on his books would keep them, not only would it create peace, but it would just be phenomenal. Well, for weeks, once, you know, he got medicated, we would collect that money and go down to the jail and pay it every week. He would send a list of all the inmates, their booking numbers and their names. And and the letters that I received still make me cry. People who felt forgotten, people who were like, man, you know, your son is a gift, even in the middle of their suffering. So what I'm saying is please take the time, make a small pledge, make a large pledge. Just support the cause. If you look around, I keep telling everybody, it's not just, if it's 1 in 5 people that is affected by mental health issues, 1 in 5. I mean, stop for a second. Think about the people you know. If you know 5 people, there's one of those in the 5 that has a direct connection to someone who is suffering from some type of mental disorder. That's the majority. That's a lot. That's greater than people would ever even imagine. So a lot of people are hiding it in the cut and afraid, and nobody wants to be judged. Nobody wants to be criticized, but everybody needs help. How can you help? You can't touch every soul, but you can. And I'm saying, please do contribute to NAMI. And is it NAMI Walks? What's the direct link to be able to donate?
So I did give
Tony
some links. I don't know if you put them out there yet.
Yes.
But to donate to sponsor me personally, there's a link. It has my name in it. Tony just put it up on the screen, hopefully. And to donate to my team, which is called Brilliant Brains, because we're just kind of intelligent like that. To donate to my team, Tony hopefully put the link up there for that one as well. Listen, it's very easy to do. Just takes a minute. Go ahead and go to the site and make a donation. If you make a donation of $35, that buys a book for a family member who wants to take the family-to-family course. Any amount that you give, you contribute to trainings that'll happen to teach family-to-family teachers. These folks are not paid. They're volunteers. But we have to train them on how to teach this wonderful, awesome, impactful program.
Right.
And it's a 3-day training, so we need resources in order to be able to do that. We need resources to help our folks who live with a mental illness who are being trained to help others learn to cope with their illness. We pay these folks who are on disability, who are not working, pay them a small stipend so that they can run support groups, they can teach the peer-to-peer course. Your donation helps all of that. It helps to sustain the work that we do and fulfill our mission of making life just better. Helping someone to, I like what you said, the first breath and the last breath. I know of a young lady who had for years and years contemplated suicide. And she finally got to a place where, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And she heard a ad on a radio about NAMI. And it was a connection support group for people with a mental illness. She heard that and she said, okay, I'm just going to wait. And it was happening that night. She said, I'm going to wait and I'm going to go. And because she went to that group and heard those people and got the comfort and support she needed, she's still here today. And she's actually a national trainer now for the program. Your financial support helps stories like that.
We got a phone call, Deanna. Let's grab this phone call.
Sure.
Caller, you're on the air with the Marla and Dave show. What's your name and where you're calling from? You don't have to give your name if you would like to remain anonymous.
I work with Deanna.
Oh, hi. and you work with Deanna, and your name is?
Ted.
Ted.
Hey, Ted.
How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Deanna, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
So did you have a comment, or you just called to say, hey, what's up? Because we appreciate all of it.
I called to say hey, and also she just touched briefly on connections, and I just wanted to expand on that it is a program for not just the families of people who are dealing with mental illness, but the people who are really dealing with it themselves. So if anyone's feeling depression or mania, it's a place they can go and have an open forum for talking.
Very good.
Ted is a facilitator of connection, and he's really, really been quite helpful to us and to our peers. That's awesome. It's great for you to call in, Ted.
I'm super glad to virtually meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right. Anytime. Don't be a stranger to the Madhouse.
Okay, very good.
Okay, thanks, Ted. So there you go. So Ted was talking about, which is interesting because, it's true that I tend to look at, because of the situation, I tend to look at everything through the eyes of how can I be a better support, to my children, to my son. But how do we get through to those who suffer? And what I do know is that, one thing that's huge for me is working very hard to expose the humanness in the illness, and to break down the stigma, so everybody doesn't have to feel like you said. If you're no one is ashamed to take vitamins.
Right.
When they have a vitamin deficiency, they just go, my youngest daughter has a vitamin D deficiency. No one thinks anything of it. She just, takes vitamin supplements, to keep herself balanced, and she goes on about her business. But the minute that it has to do with, personality disorders or whatever the case, mental illness, formal diagnosis, everybody just goes into this. And the other thing that I want to say, and I want to say this online to everybody watching, and I say this because I also watch my oldest daughter suffer. And the suffering comes from trying to create this persona that presents in somebody else's spectrum of norm. And I'm so hurt by that because watching those that already have a tough time balancing have to conform to anything other than the confession of their issue that will allow them to be helped is terrible. When they re-aired Dr. Phil for my son, and then he started getting hate videos and messages from people like, I knew this such and such from school. I didn't know that N-word was crazy and you should just kill yourself. And people go there. They're already not balanced. And so what I really just want to say is recognize that there's issues here, and on a simple level, you can create more compassion and more understanding by not attacking and just accept.
Can I say this to Marla?
And hold on. We're going to go to a quick break, and then you're going to say that as soon as we come back. We'll be right back.
It's time to play the Marla and Dave Love Game. Here are Marla and Dave to explain how it works.
All right. The MaD Love Game is a game that Dave and I have created. And for those of you who are blind, Dave's not here. But Deanna's here and Tony Sweetie's here. And so this game is a game.
Not to get me in trouble. Please promise not to get me in trouble.
You can get yourself in trouble, Deanna. I don't know what to do for you.
Marla, help a sister out, okay?
You what?
Seriously, help a sister out.
Help
get
you?
Me in no trouble.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna help Deanna out by rolling the dice myself, because then it's not her that did anything or rolled anything. I did it. Oh, lose a turn. It's Deanna's turn.
What trouble am I getting into?
All right, so let me roll it again.
Okay.
All right, so the category is wild. So we're gonna choose a card from finance.
Okay.
And we're gonna pick this card, and we're gonna ask this question. Now, this game is a game that has 3 categories. The 3 categories that we feel most affect every single solitary relationship on the planet, including yours, and that's sex, communication, and finance. So Deanna has chosen finance.
Tony, you hear that? Okay.
And so the question is this. If a woman only wants to date a man who offers her financial security, is she a gold digger?
Yes.
Now, all the questions have a legitimate answer that have been placed on the cards from the PEW, the Pew Research Center. I don't know what happened here, but so, and then there's a further discussion question, which makes the game super fun, because you can take this further discussion question and you can use it to ask your friends, and it always sparks a lively conversation at parties, and it's a good game night. So the question again is, if a woman only wants to date a man who offers her financial security, is she a gold digger?
Well, I don't like that term, but yes.
The PW Research Center says Deanna is wrong.
Okay.
Says technically the answer is no. Gold diggers have an added narcissistic quality. That's a good one. I just want to say that nobody.
But I'm a little confused though, because if you are dating a man solely because of what he can do for you financially, isn't that pretty narcissistic? Like, I'm just.
I don't think that there. I think that the thing I think that we have to be careful of, because humans in our nature, we're multifaceted.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Nobody is one thing. So I don't think anybody gets with anybody for any one thing. There's got to be something else that sparks other than one. And the discussion question, by the way, is, does the need to be taken care of financially transcend genders? In other words, can men be gold diggers too? That's the question. So the point that I'm making is I do think that what I could say would be, I don't know about the narcissistic quality, or is it just a person who's focused on finance is very shallow. Yeah, because we're more than that. And at any given point, the one thing I know about life is that if there's anything that goes and comes in everybody's life, it's money.
And this is the thing. This is the thing about it, though. Like, when you are, and I can speak about this because there's somebody who's really, really close to me, who has been in a relationship for 40 years because of that, just because of financial security.
Yeah.
And
it happens.
I up close and personal have seen what that does to a person. And quite frankly, I do feel like there's, just in the mere fact of a woman going after a man, or a man going after a woman solely because they want to be taken care of, I just feel like that's ego.
If you marry somebody or you hook up with somebody for their checkbook, you will earn every dime. And with that,
oh my,
I'd like to say, case closed.
All right.
The fulfillment that you get from a wallet will always leave you wanting. Mm-hmm. There's another statement that you can keep. Yeah. Stash that in your pipe and smoke it. We'll be right back.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
We almost caught Deanna speaking out of turn. We almost got her. It almost happened. Deanna was going to talk and she thought her mic was off. Anyway, there's so many people in the chat room. Mom, what's up? Colette, Cordelia, Liz, Gary Ray, Jake Nixon, Robert Sinclair, Devonna B, Roseberry. Did I tell you guys a story about Devonna and La Quinta hotels? Anyway, that's what really sucks about being my friend. I can do this now. Anyway, moving on. Kids, guys, ask your mom about the La Quinta. Go talk to your dad, too. Ada Rodriguez. Hey, Ada, it's been a minute. Gail Randolph. Man, we never have enough time. I don't know why Tony has not given us a 4-hour time slot. So we can just bring cots here and snacks. And yeah, and right. There'll be no spooning, Tony. I don't even know what you're talking about. But anyway, man, so much information. NAMI, we've got the walk. When is the walk?
The walk is Saturday, October 6th.
Okay, I know that you've been given. I know that I'm on your team, and I know that I need to share that so others can join me. I'll be at the walk, so just so you guys know, please come join me at the NAMI walk. There's going to be other events and other information that I can share with you guys. Check in with me. Make sure you log on. NAMI.org is where I want you to go. We put the link up, in which we will continue to post a link for you to be able to join Deanna directly and her team. Mm-hmm. By all means, please just take a minute. It's digital now. Donate. We need your help. Everybody is complaining about the problem, but you can help be part of the solution. Seriously, mm-hmm. Your dollars matter.
And one thing I want to say is, we'd really like to see an effort to outreach to underserved communities like the African American community, but it takes financial resources to do that.
Right.
If you want folks like me out there really just talking about how NAMI has really impacted, how treatment can help, just listen, airing it out, getting it out there, talking about what has formerly been a taboo topic, getting our name out there, becoming a household name. Listen, all of that really takes financial resources. So just go ahead, put the link in your URL. It only takes a minute. At the very least, donate something. But you know what? Join the team.
Join the team.
Raise money.
Join the team.
You get a beautiful shirt. They have a beautiful T-shirt this year. If you raise $100, you live locally, you can wear, or wherever you live, you can wear the shirt to the walk. As long as you raise $100, a couple weeks before October 6th.
I'm going to get a couple shirts. I'm going to get enough shirts
I'm
to.
just saying.
Yeah. I'm going to get a shirt. I'm going to get enough shirts to like outfit a team. Yeah, I'm going to have a team to team of NAMI walkers.
And listen, you can, in fact, create your own team. If you go to the links that Tony has put up there, especially NAMI. If you live in Los Angeles County, you can go to NAMI Los Angeles County. You can create your own team. Give it a name, set yourself a goal, get some folks to join you, and raise money for this very, very worthwhile, life-changing cause. Do that for us, and do that for yourself.
And Deanna, before you, I cannot let you leave the studio. I won't without saying this.
Yes.
Thank you. You're a blessing, and thank you for being on so many levels just a beacon of what can be. A beacon of hope. Before you came to our studio that one day, which again, people don't even realize that you weren't the guest that was slated. The person that was slated to come was ill and couldn't come and sent you instead. And we had no idea that there was anyone who could possibly have a similar diagnosis as our son that could be functioning at such a high level, period. Yeah. And to see you was just like that. You literally ignited a spark of hope, but also being African American, also overcoming, just being brave and being true, and just going through the process and not withering away from the share.
Absolutely. Some of your watchers may not know and may not have heard or seen the first time I came on the show, and I think even the second time I came on the show, where I went into great detail about my experiences with my mental health condition, and perhaps you might make it available to them, because
they should go back and revisit that.
You would probably just not believe that this person is sitting in front of you, not foaming and frothing at the mouth, not, jumping up and down and behaving, oddly and in ways that are uncommon. But I have definitely been in that place. I have had hallucinations. I've even had, hallucinations where I feel them in my body, where I feel like I'm getting ready to have a baby when I can no longer have a child. I've gone and spent, $15,000 in 3 days on frivolous things. I believe, I was Jesus and that I was the second coming, and the radio telling me special messages, TV, special messages. I have been in the throes multiple times of psychosis, and I am saying that NAMI helped save my life.
Period. And on that note, period. NAMI.org. Please join the movement. Become part of the solution. We need every single solitary contribution, voice, and support and body. So by all means, join the team, join the movement, and make sure that you contribute to something that is in such desperate need at this moment. So
forego the cup of coffee, forego the nail
only one nail though,
appointment.
so I'm gonna have
only one nail.
Only one.
and make a donation.
Next time you see me, I'm gonna have a new nail job. I'm gonna have one raw nail, and it's gonna be because I couldn't get them all polished, because I too was part of the team. My contributions are real. Don't get it twisted. I'll see you guys next week. You guys enjoy your week. We'll see you back in the Madhouse on Monday.
Thanks for having me, Marla.
sunlight in your universe, and you would think my love is really something good, baby. If I could change